So we got this trap lord, some shit like that. We were reacting to one of his videos. The tragic passing of two people who tried to rob Bloodhound Jeff. Let's hop right into it.
To understand the events that would take place in early 2024, we likely have to go all the way back to the early days of the young Bloodhounds. As I mentioned before, out of the three main rappers associated with the Bloodhounds, Jeff Q for the youngest that would take place.
Bird. Okay, he just said Bird. That's it.
To understand the events that would take place in early 2024, we likely have to go all the way back to the early days of the young Bloodhounds. As I mentioned before, out of the three main rappers associated with the Bloodhounds, Jeff, Q50 and Vert, it appears that Vert was likely the first to get into the streets. On his old Facebook page that's under his real name, the young Vert can be seen often hanging out on the east side with the rest of the kids and older members from Drill City and Trap City or Criswell.
How long? No, I was asking something. My head. My head. Huh? Okay. Hey, who was that? Who was that? Say you want smoke must be half. Everybody good over here? Everybody good over here? Oh, you guys are right there. Look at that. These I ain't going.
What? These niggas about 16, 15 right here, right? 15, 16? That what it looked like to be. 15, 16, 17.
What that is? I'm gonna give me some. Oh, man,
But Vert had also made friends from outside his close neighborhood, with at least one of these friends being all the way out in the west side of Chicago, more specifically the hood known as the Jungle, which is located in the near west side neighborhood close to the United Center, which is home to both the Chicago Bulls NBA team and the Chicago Blackhawks NHL team. The relationship between Vert and his friend from Jungle would continue into their adult years, with Vert seemingly taking trips with the members from Jungle as recently as 2021. There's also a vlog from 2022 by YouTuber J Global Visuals, where Vert can be seen hanging out in the Jungle's hood with them.
Real stuff, man. This game all out, man. No, man. Jungle life, man. We was never known to stop. Never. Ever. Jungle life, man. Father's Day shit, man. Third Cap, this real live right now. I'm driving out south. PDC, you know. I'm from the East, got killers from West. PDK, same K. PDLK. Whatever they say, K. West side thing, what up?
The members from the Jungle, on the other hand, are known to be closely affiliated with another close-by set called BKN, also known as Nitty Block, named after a Jungle member called Frank Nitty, or Sota Nitty, real name Frank Looney Jr., who was killed in 2019. It appears that eventually Jeff too would get close with the Jungle and BKN, with some videos still existing online showing him hanging out with them on their block. Unfortunately, as the rumour goes, the relationship between the Bloodhounds and BKN or Jungle would eventually go sour, after members of the BKN would allegedly turn on them and rob Jeff for some watches, with BKN then, according to Chiracologists, hopping on Instagram Live to gleefully show their alleged $50,000 bounty and the two guns that were used to take them.
Yeah. What did it say? Think coming like, look, tell the op. We talking about stop. You taking the show for us.
We got like 50K down. That's fake AP they got. I just turned off car.
In the video, they showed off two stolen watches and an iced-out chain. And funnily enough, one of the watches was seemingly one of those fake iced-out watches designed to look like an iced-out.
How many niggas still in the hood with real watches? How many niggas still in the hood with real watches that ain't stolen? If it ain't stolen, how many niggas in the hood with real watches? Like, ain't none of these niggas got no real fucking watches, bro. What we talking about? Not if they just coming up.
AP watch, like the one from the coffin video, with Redditors seemingly noticing that one of these watches was almost certainly an imitation AP, which was in fact an AP tribute by fashion watch company GLD, which currently retails for less than $700. And this is something that the thieves would actually point out in their video, ironically mocking the target of their robbery for having a fake AP.
Stop wearing that. Stop wearing that fake.
BK!
Tell her I'll start wearing that fake.
Wait, what's fake AP they got down there, man? Y'all ain't
Fake.
I just turned.
While the other watch was just a plain Jane Cartier Santos, which if real would be worth as little as $3,000, along with a matching chain that reads Bartier, which I guess would make sense for the Bloodhounds if they were swapping this.
So, ain't none of this shit nowhere near 50K. 5K at most.
These would be like old school Bloods when they were buying a chain to match the Cartier watch. But clearly, this was no 50 grand lip, and arguably such a small taking that the robbery would certainly not end up being worth the consequences that would come soon after. As despite the low value of the items taken, it would be the damage to the ego.
So, y'all took all the shit, knew the shit was fake, went on live, tried to clown them for being the shit fake, with the same guns. So, for 5 bands that you didn't cash in on because you didn't have enough time to sell the shit, you just, the time that you used doing all this could have been using to get away from this nigga, because clearly he coming. Goddamn, clearly this nigga coming, bro. Could he use that time to get away? Because he coming for you, bro.
Of the person the items were taken from that would escalate.
Especially when we heard a nigga pride in his ego, so his shit fake, young stop putting his fake ass shit on. Ooh,
The situation severely. Jeff too would seemingly later open up about these events, saying that nobody took anything from him by force, but rather they ran off with them when he wasn't paying attention.
I've been saying everything now. On my dead grandmother's head, if I'm lying, I'm down. God could come pull me out this car right now. I never took a dollar from
Nothing.
He said, let me take a picture, this, that, and that. I look up, the nigga then ran down. We all the way at the top of the staircase first off. The nigga then ran. I look up, the nigga taking off down the stairs with 5 more extra. I'm like,
So these niggas Florida too. These niggas was some feds. That shit crazy.
then I thought it was gangster. The whole time I'm right there still working with him. I'm telling him we could keep this gangster, be gangster, and I respect it's gonna be what it's gonna be to keep this gangster. There's one gangster.
Then, on January the 20th, the Chicago-based YouTuber Word from the Trenches would upload a vlog where he hangs out with the BKN members in their hood, with this vlog also including a member called Monty, who also goes by the name Drench, or Czar, and who would allegedly be one of the people involved in Lil Jeff's robbery.
Who that? Dress right here.
That's another one of the guys.
He by himself, man. Don't think brother, all the way on the other end, brother. On the other end, he by himself. Dress.
Hey, tell she go up, man. I need some loose leaf, man.
Hey, this I was for the guest I got him in a big trail. Just come up to my little dress. It's true, man. I need loose leaf, man.
Hey, y'all already know my name, Dress. Zah, they call me Zah. Smoke your dumb like some Zah. They said he Zah don't stop smoking y'all too.
So Dress the nigga who got turned into a fucking meme. Damn.
Later, in the same vlog, BKN members can be seen hanging out inside a hallway of one of their buildings, when Monty gets a FaceTime call from none other than Lil Jeff, with the energy between the two seeming tense, as Monty begins by asking Jeff where that J at, meaning jewelry, before showing off a watch on his wrist to the camera and saying again, let me see the J's, whilst also telling Jeff that they're all right here, while showing his posse, as well as someone asking either Jeff or someone else how much their watch is costing, with the main member of the vlog, Rapper Puda, seemingly wholly uninterested in including Jeff in their vlog.
Shit on my big cousin show, 2 feet B-nose, we the whole 4L gang, like I put the whole 4L, shout out Young Nudie, and my cousin too, all.
My ability is called instant death to any target. If I simply think that I want to kill someone, they immediately die.
My foot down.
So these niggas did this video, this vlog, the day after or some shit? For this nigga to be calling like this?
Down there in the 8, shit going on for real. Really, like, I ain't gonna lie, twin. Like,
Look, man, we got JL, man.
hold on, y'all. Hold on. I ain't gonna lie.
Put that J in there.
Look, only artist I really wanna with right now, probably Big 30, goddamn.
How much that is on y'all wrist right there, man?
Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
Only 6 days after the release of this vlog, on Friday the 26th of January 2024, Monty and another member of BKN, or Jungle, called Lil Rob, real name Robert Boston, would be attending the Innovations High School located in downtown Chicago, more specifically in an area called the Loop. And then, close to 12:30 p.m., Monty and Lil Rob, together with other students, were seemingly heading out of the school, likely going on their lunch break, with one exit being next to the Washington or Warbush L train station, a very busy location, particularly during the lunch hour. Soon after exiting the school building, 2 cars would suddenly pull up with several masked shooters hopping out of the cars and opening fire towards Monty and Lil Rob. After the shooting was over, someone standing on the train platform above the street level would capture the truly disturbing scene of the last moments of the 2 young boys who had been shot, whilst their friends and members of the public crowd around them in sheer shock, with some attempting to do what little they could to try and save their lives. Unfortunately, there was nothing to be done, and both Monty and Lil Rob were later pronounced dead in the Northwestern Memorial Hospital, while a third, unrelated victim would be grazed in her jacket, the bully fortunately missing her body. Not long after the shooting, the area would be bustling with local media who would interview with.
That's the one thing I don't fuck with about these new age gangsters, gangbangers, whatever you want to call them. Bro, I understand there's kids now in this shit, rather than it being a 20-year-old nigga and up in the streets, you feel me? Even though it was younger niggas still in the streets, but bro, it was a code these niggas lived by. No kids, no women, no mamas. That was the code. They don't give a fuck about that shit now. At all. They don't give no fuck about this shit at all now, bro. And that's why I think this shit's stupid. Ain't no code to this shit. Like, if you in that life, bro, then it is what it is. You in that life, bro. But it was a code, nigga. And these niggas don't live by that shit. They said fuck that shit. And that's the problem with these niggas, man. That's why they call young niggas. And that's why these young niggas is the ones that's getting all the hate. That's why the OGs is turning around and trying to make shit positive again. Cause these niggas ain't got no type of code no more at all.
Witnesses that had seen or heard the shooting, including the woman who had just nearly missed getting shot herself.
Went through my arm, but
during that shooting, Berenice Vargas says she was grazed with one of the bullets.
I heard like 4 shots, and that was all super anxious and sad, and I was afraid that it hit me too by accident.
Another witness would describe the shots being let off, sounding like a firecracker, perhaps meaning that at least one of the shooters was using a switch on their pistol.
Like a firecracker, you know, like a something like a firecracker, you know, like a 10-15 shot. Boom, 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 boom.
Local shopkeeper Mohammed.
I'm not gonna lie. They not lying. Bro, I went to 2 parties last year. The last 2 parties I went to. They both, well, one of them got shot up, but one of them niggas had a switch. And if you don't know about Minneapolis, do your research. Live in Minneapolis, do your research. I ain't got time to go through it all right now. But, you know what I'm saying? They got hit with that bitch. Only one time. But them bitches do sound like that. But this is wildly inaccurate. Why would you even want it?
Ahmed Ashik describes diving for cover as bullets were flying, witnessing the aftermath, an emotional scene unfolding right in front of him.
Everybody looking right and left, you know, over there has a people crying, you know, kids crying, you know.
All of this happening near Innovations High School, where the 2 boys were students. Crisis responder Andrew Holmes speaking with the boys' families Friday night.
The 16-year-old just had a smile, that he kept a smile. The 17-year-old, you know, he was just trying to work hard to just go into the trade business.
Holmes furious, like many other community members, about the brazen events that unfolded. He says one of those boys would be celebrating a birthday in just weeks.
You have no right to take another person's life like that. And you know, this is a brutal way This is cold-blooded murder.
Mayor Brandon Johnson.
It wasn't that deep. It wasn't that deep. It wasn't. But they in that life and shit. That's what they promoting too. So I just it's them doing it like with a crowd, bro. Where they could have endangered everybody else. That's stupid. That's the stupid part.
Johnson responding to the shooting, writing, quote,
My deepest
condolences to their families and the Innovations High School community as they grapple with unimaginable pain and trauma caused by this senseless act of violence.
In the aftermath, even the mayor of Chicago would comment on the senselessness of this attack, and the situation was so serious that it would actually be covered citywide on numerous Chicago news reports, including ABC 7. In Chicago.
As two families and a community mourn the slaying of the teens, Chicago police continue their search for the gunman responsible for the brazen downtown daylight ambush that claimed the boys' lives. It appears to be business as usual just a day after two teens are gunned down in front of their downtown high school. Many of the bullet-riddled windows have been boarded up following the slaying of 16-year-old Robert Boston and 17-year-old Monterio Williams. Friends say the boys knew each other, and so did their families. Investigators say both teens were shot and killed Friday afternoon near Wabash and Washington Streets as they left school with a group of friends. The teens were students at CPS Charter School Innovations High School. That's when witnesses say a dark-colored car and a dark-colored SUV pulled up and masked gunmen got out and opened fire. Authorities say while some of the attackers got away in the vehicles, at least two of them ran away. The wounded students were rushed to an area hospital where they both were pronounced dead. Investigators call the attack isolated and are combing through security camera video from the area. So far, no one is in custody and no arrests have been made. Police are asking anyone with any information to contact Area 3 police detectives.
Already on the night of the 26th, the police would also give a press briefing on the investigation so far, showing that the CPD was likely taking this case much more seriously than an average South or West Side shooting due to the extremely central location of this double murder.
First of all, I'd like to start out by offering our condolences on behalf of Superintendent Snelling and the Chicago Police Department to the two families that were touched by this senseless act of violence today. Approximately 12:25 today, several students were exiting the Innovations High School when two cars pulled up and a group of individuals exited said vehicles, fired multiple times, striking two of the teenage students of Innovations High School. These individuals were taken to Northwestern Hospital where they succumbed to their injuries. So we'd like to actually say again, our thoughts and prayers are with the families of these two students. We're asking the public, it's very early in the investigation, but if anybody has any information, we'd ask them to call Area 3 Detective Division at 312-744-8261. You can also be reached an email at tipcpd.com. At this time, it appears that a group of approximately 6 students were exiting, and there's no confrontation. Like I said, several individuals exited 2 vehicles, approached the group, and fired.
Neil was on a mission, a straight mission. Hopped out and got the blaze in that bit, and he didn't get arrested for it because he kept going after that.
Multiple times. At this time, it's still very early in the investigation. It's just several individuals exited those vehicles where the gunfire erupted. There was an individual, a woman that was walking by. Her jacket was grazed. No medical treatment was sought, and she's talking with the area detectives right now. She was not a student, no.
And these teens are Innovation High School, or were Innovation High School.
Yes.
What do you tell us about their ages?
17 years old and 16. At this time, we believe it to be an isolated incident. You know, wherever the tragedy like this strikes in the city, it's heartbreaking for the families and everybody affected by it. The tragedy, no matter where it happens. But down here, as the students were exiting, we believe it's, like I said, an isolated incident, and that there's no danger in the area continuing. We believe one to be a dark-colored sedan and an SUV. At this time, no one was in custody at this time.
Astonishingly, despite this seemingly being a targeted hitman-style execution taking place in one of the most central locations in Chicago in broad daylight, there would seemingly not be any possible suspects in the aftermath of the shooting. But there would certainly be a whole lot of dissing going on, particularly towards Monty, with members of the Bloodhounds also taking part in this on social media. And it seems that in the week following the shooting, there may have been some get-back shootings happening too, because in early February, Jeff would post on his Instagram how his ops had lost their mind and were killing innocent people. Jeff would also seemingly get a new tattoo around this time of 10 teardrops falling down his neck, the message being that he had now officially updated his body count to 10 murders. But perhaps most notably, 2 of these teardrops appear to be...
Vaping didn't take up much space in my life at first, but as time went on, the only relationship I cared about was my relationship with nicotine.
Nah, those two being right there to each other is crazy.
Connected to each other, with many people believing that these 2 connected teardrops actually reference Lil Rob and Monty's murders. Meanwhile, BKN will also seemingly dissing Jeff with a rapper called Get Back Dot, dropping a music video for his song Lost My Mind, also in the beginning of February, where 2 watches are shown together with the song title, these watches being clearly different from the earlier video, supposedly showing BKN members flexing Jeff's watches, yet seemingly very similar to the other 2 watches that Jeff had displayed on his second Instagram, with this suggesting to me that he hadn't got the watches back, but had at the very least upgraded or kept a much better pair of watches. However, the next move from Jeff would be the motherlode of apparent self-snitching that would end up arguably changing his whole career trajectory, as on the 16th of February 2024, exactly 3 weeks after the shooting that claimed the lives of Monty and Lil Rob, Jeff would release his biggest song to date, the track titled Ah, together with a music video that now has almost 2 million views. The video begins with the Bloodhound showing off their full gun arsenal, before Jeff begins his verse, starting by saying how he's toting a 10 milli and that his gun has some recoil, before saying then people did what they did and therefore had to pay the consequences. He then proceeds to explain how he still hops out of the car when he's doing hits and also drives the car because he's so thirsty to catch his ops, before saying that you would think he's lying if he told you about all the things he did in the streets. But Jeff was only getting warmed up, because he then proceeds to state that when he speaks it's only facts, and that his supposed victim was screaming "ah" when he got hit, and how this person had been acting tough online but was now laying on the floor. This was another jaw-dropping lyric when you consider the fact that in the footage of Lil Rob and Monty, after they've been shot lying on the floor, you can actually hear one of them screaming "ah." Jeff then puts the icing on the cake by rapping how he just walked into the lid store to buy 2 hats, a hat of course being slang for catching a body and murdering someone, going on to say that he's really stepping in blood, which would eventually become the name of his posthumous debut album, before explaining how his victims didn't get a chance to run, so can't say that he tripped, and that Jeff and his buddies hopped out with 4 guns and 2 people got hit. Jeff then further continues by saying that he has lost his Draco, so he's going to have to use a switch on his pistol, and that before they were his ops, they were his fans. And the verse just keeps on going, with Jeff then rapping how somebody's best friend died and he wishes that he was dead with him, but it won't take too long until he's also dead, because Jeff is a madman who can't stop chasing and killing his ops, before explaining that they got the drop on their ops and spin the block, which would indeed seemingly be the only way that an attack like the one pulled off on Monty and Lil Rob could even be pulled off. Jeff would say that his favourite ops got killed, and he then appears to forget for a moment that he was in the middle of a confession, or perhaps he simply begins to reminisce about his earlier crimes, as he then lays down some bars about taking cops on high-speed chases and how he refused to fight and will just kill you. He explains how he loves robbing people for their jewellery, particularly watches, as well as being so thirsty that he might even take your socks off your feet, as well as saying that he'll pull up on the side of your car and kill you right there. Jeff then continues saying how he's the top op and known for putting his victims on Fox News, with the local Fox 32 Chicago channel also being one of the first news outlets that reported on the killing of Monty and Lil Rob.
We begin with breaking news. 2 high school students killed in a Chicago loop shooting.
Jeff then finally ends the song by saying that he is indeed everything that they say he is, a slimy guy who will walk you down before killing you, before shouting out Q50 and sending a stern message to all his ops that they better watch their mouths when talking about Jeff. But of course, Jeff was only getting started with the dissing with this song, and he would soon continue disrespecting his ops on social media. But even Shoebox Baby from O-Block would comment on his live, questioning how come Jeff suddenly has so many views, asking him if he's a rapper now. While Jeff would rap lyrics from his Ah song, before noticing that a BKN member was commenting how Jeff was going to die, with Jeff then dissing BKN, saying how sending threats had gotten Sav killed, this being a possible reference to a 17-year-old boy from Jungle's neighborhood called Ray Sav, real name Raekwon Williams. He was killed in 2016 and had seemingly been even close to Vert in the past, as well as saying that sending threats had also got Lil Rob killed, the implication likely being that Lil Rob had died due to Monty's actions.
And that's why Sav ass dead now, because y'all ass sending threats, and that gives your men send threats like that, and then your homie go get him. But now you gonna burst it on him next. Now it's on threat. Now it's on Lil Rob. Now you gonna now it's on Rob new ass.
Jeff would also then begin to diss a young alleged BKN member called Baby Do It, real name Kadoni Smith Jr., who was found shot to death inside of a burning car in December 2023 at only 15 years old, with this murder allegedly being a get back for Monty killing 2 equally young boys from a rival set.
They put our shorty in a trunk and set his on fire. Y'all look, ain't that man. I ain't got pissed out like that shit. They burned this to hell. They said this quick. I left that place somewhere, so it's
Still, in February, Jeff would also post a picture of himself smoking on 2 blunts at 2:20 p.m, with the Chiracologists, who are now beginning to turn into full-blown Lil Jeffologists, commenting why couldn't he wait until that time was 2:22 p.m. to make the message even more obvious, with everybody now seemingly involved in this inside joke that Jeff was sharing about allegedly killing 2 high school students. Jeff's apparent self-snitching about the case would only become more brazen as time went on, and in April, he would once again do what appeared to be either a semi-confession or alternatively, an example of Jeff reaching a level of trolling as promotion that resembled a true work of art, as Jeff's music was now beginning to reach some noticeable popularity, not least due to the rumors of him being behind this brazen double murder.
All kids, lay down. I'm done giving kids passes. It's a wrap. You know that if I get mad enough, will start happening. Y'all know this by now. I went black for like a week and poof, gotta go. After that, poof, I came back, poof.
In April, he would make the now infamous Instagram post of him holding a picture of 2 hats with the description supposedly symbolizing each of his victims with a different emoji, with the last 2 emojis being those of a graduation cap, another rather obvious reference to the fact that Monty and Lil Rob were killed while leaving their high school. Also, seemingly around this time, Jeff would post a cryptic story on IG of his phone screen with the date 13th of January, which would have been almost exactly 2 weeks before the murders of Monty and Lil Rob. In the story, Jeff says that he never wants to feel like he felt that day, and that after whatever happened that day, he made a promise to himself never to forget, and that it's been 4 months since he stood on business, plus then some. Vert 2 was seemingly participating in the dissing, releasing a song and music video titled Out West, with Vert, of course, seemingly having a long and personal connection with the West Side sets, Jungle and BKN, that had now come to an end, just like his long affiliation with Trap City had come to a close the previous year. In the song, Vert raps how he's not too cocky to ask his friends for help before seemingly dissing Jungle and BKN for trying to beef with him whilst their homies had been killed, and specifying how he had been just chilling and kicking back when hearing who had gotten killed, this perhaps being a reference to Monty. Vert dedicating an entire song to allegedly dissing his old friends from the West Side seems to point to his involvement in whatever took place between the Bloodhounds and BKN, which is also something that members from Trap City, including his former friend Tiro, would later indicate during his vlog with X-Man Rico.
And the reason I was saying that too, though, because some things unforgivable. But like one thing I wanted to ask you, because bro said this happened over a chain. People was reaching out trying to have me do a story, tell me about Vert got robbed and something like that, and that's why the beat started.
Got robbed by who?
I don't know who did it, but they say Vert got robbed and shot.
Nah, he ain't talking about that. He's talking about when Vert.
Oh, out west?
He did get poked?
I don't know. I heard
They got something happened to him.
I heard for sure them took their ass.
I was locked up, folks. So I was just in the county.
I was in the county.
But he got robbed and
Tino
through the grapevine.
Keep doing.
So got back. Got back.
For sure.
In between the dissing, Jeff was also increasingly boasting about his other favourite hobby together with Q50, this hobby of course being allegedly robbing people for their jewellery, particularly watches, with this boasting almost seemingly also getting mixed in with slick disses towards BKN. Jeff and Q50 would even proudly show their bounties during Instagram lives, even showing pictures of their alleged victim, a man called 6300 Bredo, and their bloody hands wearing the stolen watches.
Hey, yo, bro. I'm gonna show y'all. Look, first he had on. It's them right here. Ooh, now 50, he ain't had none of this. What the first is that? Man, look, we rolling this. Show that dick.
We got an AP already, Storm.
I'm having a way in Chicago, Illinois.
Now we got another road.
Hey, man, give the people that shit back.
Like, they shouldn't have been trying to kick it back the line of ring.
Hey, look, John. You should take this picture.
I was about to oh, me. I got blood on them diamonds and I still wore it.
This one
I
of
was
my
just say, they
tattoos.
don't know if that's a tattoo or real.
Nah, they know. The Bloodhounds feel like they the only ones that's in the right. You might as well.
You know, I don't know other what you got.
This alleged watch incident with Bredo would allegedly even lead to something way more serious, as not long after, a member called Slide from his TMC set would allegedly get shot in the head, his exact condition after this alleged shooting remaining a mystery, while Jeff and Q50 would once again hop on social media to mercilessly troll their ops, even saying that Jeff's 11th body was now pending.
On my dead grandmother's head, it's somewhere on the deathbed, dying, if not dead, down this moment. Got hit in his brain, got hurt, can't even talk to y'all. He can't even tell you how he feel right now. He don't even know. He's supposed to be 11 right now, but I'm 10.
one ominous live, Jeff would also say how they weren't expecting him to make it to 2024, but that he's made it with a new watch on his wrist, for once again saying how he's up 10 bodies.
They say I wasn't supposed to make it to New Year's. I done made it to a new year with a new watch. These hate me. I done made it to a new year with an AP. I love the new year. I'm so happy I made it. I done made it, yeah. Let me make it now. I'm icy. They can't take it. I'm up 10. I need some more. Play that real quick.
In this same live, Jeff would also tell how he's taking his fans to killing school, but all the applicants need to have at least 2 bodies under their belts, mentioning how he's putting this limit in place as a tradition, which seems to be yet another reference to Monty and Lil Rob, as well as referring to the infamous King Von lyric where he says that you're not a true killer unless you've got 2 bodies.
I'm taking this to killing school. Class start next week. You gotta at least have 2 bodies though, for I ain't coming with no. If you ain't got I can't work with no beginners folks. You gotta at least have a 2. I'm gonna give y'all 2 minimum. I'm gonna start at 2 minimum, cause y'all know why I'm gonna start at 2 minimum. Now I'm just doing it for a tradition. I'm gonna start at 2 minimum, man. 2, you gotta have a minimum of 2. No, anything, you gotta have 2. You gotta have a minimum of 2 of them to come to school. You gonna sit your dumb ass in this seat, and whatever I say, do it. If you do anything scary, I'm smoking yo. I'm just playing.
That nigga not playing.
I'm gonna have to though, cause now like I just thought you was ready and you lied. Now I gotta kill you. And throw you over there in the lake. I'm about to water up.
Jeff was clearly feeling himself, and he would also seemingly start and intensify beefs with numerous other people and sets.
Hey, honey, the snake, the whole low end. Nah. Hey, shorty, Mike, y'all, that's different. Chicago, matter of fact, the city. Oh, y'all too, watching me. Bam, too. Buck Slide, too.
One of these being another popular Chicago rapper, YFG Fatso, who Jeff would often diss on social media.
Fatso, he ain't no that little boy better play his part. You know that?
This would seemingly even lead to a false rumor in April that Jeff had been killed, which Fatso would allegedly help spread, with the drill expert Squid Ape then making a post on his Instagram debunking these rumors. But anyway, things had also been happening in the streets closer to home, as in March 2024, a well-respected Trap City OG called Lil D, real name Delegance Crawl, had been killed following an argument during an insane shootout where Lil D was also able to shoot his killer, before another man would take his gun and chase his killer down and shoot him some more. Despite Trap City and Drill City and the Bloodhound still being in deadly beef, both Jeff and Vert would pay their respects to Lil D on social media, showing how mixed up the friendships, alliances, and rivalries had gotten at this point between these 2 factions. A few months later, another tragedy would strike when another OG, 36-year-old man named Tyrone McClinton, would lose his life. Better known in the streets as T.Y., Ty, or G-Ty, he was allegedly from the infamous set NLMB that are closely affiliated with Drill City, with some even theorizing whether the hit on Monty and Lil Rob had been done by the Bloodhounds together with the younger members from NLMB who go by the name Shorty Mob. Ty would be killed in Drill City's hood as he and 2 other men were approached by 4 suspects who would open fire, injuring the 2 other men whilst killing Ty.
I believe 2 souls are drawn to each other. And if they don't meet in one life.
Yo, these niggas are actually like
someone would
crazy.
even allegedly post
Like,
security camera footage of the shooting, showing shooters surprising Ty and others from behind the corner. The location where the shooting happened is at the very heart of Drill City's hood, on the intersection of 79th Street and Cottage Grove. This location, particularly a liquor store there called Happy, being known as a particularly dangerous location, and following Ty's death, that liquor store would be closed for good. According to some Chiracologists, the shooting that would lead to Ty's death would in fact be about the beef between Drill City and BKN, with some even claiming that the shooters were actually out there looking for Jeff himself. But as of right now, the case remains open, and there is seemingly very little to go off to verify any of these claims. Meanwhile, Jeff's career was now truly taking off, and he was grabbing the attention of many local YouTubers, with On a Couch TV being the first to drop an interview with Jeff and the Bloodhounds on the 8th of May, the interview being filmed at the Grand Crossing Park in Drill City's hood. And this interview would include numerous quotables, including On a Couch asking about some watches having gone missing, to which the Bloodhounds reply by saying that they have no idea about any watches, whilst Q50 adds that Jeff doesn't even like watches.
They definitely wanted me to ask you, like, do y'all be safe out here? It was some situation they wanted me to ask about, like with some watches or something came up missing.
About who?
Like somebody or some watch or something from over here probably got took or something.
Don't even like watches, bro. We take that for.
The conversation then turns to Z-Money, with Jeff and Q50 showing off their Z-Money tattoos before Q50 starts his trademark clapathon and describing the get back for Z-Money as relentless, before adding that the same things they cried about, their ops died about.
So how do y'all move out here? Everybody probably see y'all got the Z-Money tattoo on your face. It's probably real noticeable.
You know that. That's that related. That's that get back for my man. That's that get back for my man.
Y'all basically let us know who that too. We see y'all keep his name alive every chance y'all get.
That's cuz. That's our cousin, folks. Yeah, folks' cousin. Before them lead us, real sandbox baby.
Let us know like the impact he had on the hood. And
You see it tattoo on my face. Hey, look, relentless. Look, the same I cried about, you know.
On a Couch would also note to Jeff that a lot of their songs have been getting leaked lately, before saying that fans have been telling him to ask Jeff about a song called Die Els, the song name being, of course, another reference to Lil, before Lil Scoom steps in front of the camera and starts rapping the lyrics to Jeff's hit song, Ah.
And you poppin' right now, man. A lot of people been experiencing links, like Lil Scoom, everybody, they been leaking their songs, man. They love that your song Els or Die Els or something. They said give them a snippet or something. I don't know. They just asked me to tell you to give them a snippet or something.
I think that's
They've been spamming that too. They tell them to rap some of that.
Boom! 10 million. And it got some cake. Did what they did. They had to pay the consequence. And how about basketball? We how about shoot and drive? You play with me, you get stressed. It's song they leaked on YouTube already.
Yeah, I think
stop
so.
leaking that music before we come rob.
They said it.
They already got the song. They want me to rap it.
Vert would also participate in the interview, as On a Couch asks them if people in the streets should stay off social media, with Vert replying that they're just trolling online and that everything they say is just a game, like GTA or Call of Duty.
You feel like you really like in the streets, for real, like you shouldn't even play on the internet?
It's called trolling, bro. Trolling, bro. We be trolling, bro.
Because we live in a time right now where like a lot of rappers actually live the life they say, whether it's like trapping or anything, even like
Call of Duty. What you say?
So when y'all like in the booth and all that, how do y'all stay away from like even incriminating lyrics? As we see what Young Thug and all them going through for rap lyrics.
Don't, nigga.
GTA, Call of Duty. I told you. I'll be with a jump nigga, free thug.
This interview would be followed by another one later in May, this time by DJU, this of course being the famous interview where Jeff would go semi-viral for sniffing some crushed up Percocets with Q50, whilst humorously calling the stuff Tony Montana.
Stick to weed. Stick to weed. Stick to weed. Why do you have to go to that level? Sniffing perks is fucking crazy.
Making many believe that Jeff was in fact taking uppers, not downers, before describing himself as a functional cluck, meaning a functional drug addict.
But y'all not having no troubles to where y'all gotta around go to rehab or nothing, right?
Hell nah. Hell nah. That's cluck.
See you all that scratching your face.
I'm a functional cluck. I can function. I can move and think and do and still live my everyday life.
DJU would also bring up Jeff's supposed 10 bodies, asking why the internet is painting him to be such a monster, with Jeff replying how all of the rumors about him are just coming from Reddit, showing that Jeff was indeed well aware of the infamy and dedicated fan base that he was building amongst Reddit's hardcore drill fan community with his wild antics in the streets and on songs.
You wanna know? I'm gonna tell you right now why I thought you was from the UK. Because they said Bloodhound Lil Jeff got 10 bodies. I said, okay, well he can't be in Iraq then. This must be, you feel me? In the UK. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about the real Bloodhound Lil Jeff, right? Why these folks on the internet make you out to be this monster?
I don't know, for their ass up in the head.
So look, I just watched shout out to SNTV, right? Street News TV.
What's that?
Let me cite my source. He made a video about you. It says Bloodhound Lil Jeff, is he self-snitching or clout chasing? The video I watched today, and man, in the first 60 seconds of the video, he refers to you as an example of what not to do for the youth. He said, man, this guy right here, this is what y'all should not do. You know what I mean? And he kind of broke down, some stuff he found online. So
Nigga, he not lying. No matter what you say, he not lying.
So where are these, type of rumors coming from?
The grapevine. That's coming off Reddit, man. That's how you found me, right?
Yeah.
That's gotta stop, bro. This is not real.
You definitely heavy on Reddit, for sure. You get posted on there like almost every day.
DJU would also ask Jeff about him always having so many watches, with Jeff trolling by responding that really the people are just letting him have them.
Another thing I picked up online from your social media activity is you be having a lot of watches.
You see this? Man, this ain't religious.
Where you be getting all these fly watches from?
That's sweet.
Okay.
$3.99. So free. Be giving them to me, really. They just be letting me keep them. Type like, they put them on, I can keep them. They be friendly as hell.
Word. I see he's still on your wrist, right?
Have them, bro.
So it was a situation where a guy tried to get high and he lost his watch.
Nah, what time? Oh, you read that shit?
On Reddit.
Yeah, you see some of that shit, I tell you.
Oh no, but they picked it up off your video. You said they tried to get a $10 whatever y'all
you
call
talking
it.
about that shit? I thought you was saying I was trying to get high. Oh yeah. Yeah, man. This ain't about that. Yeah. That one about it for real.
Right.
He let me see this.
Yeah, never
I'm
actually
really
returned.
borrowing it right now.
I'm about to say he never
I'm
actually.
gonna give it back soon. I'll just borrow it.
DJU then continues by asking if anyone has ever taken anything from him, likely already knowing the answer, with Jeff responding by rehashing the events leading up to the deaths of Monty and Lil Rob, before quoting his song. Saying they did what they did, before Vert cuts in and does a whistling sound, with every chirologist in the audience surely being able to read between the lines the message that Jeff was sending. But Jeff then caps the topic off by saying that it wasn't really about nothing, and he just took the L and moved on.
Have someone ever tried to take like some of your belongings from you?
Now listen, I ain't gonna lie. I did run off on me before. I will tell you that. Did what they did.
What, he zeroed you on the move or something?
Yeah, basically.
That happens to the best of us, right? We done all been finessed.
Yeah, his ass ran off and it wasn't about shit.
We done all been finessed, bro.
It was a little
That's what comes with the streets.
It wasn't about nothing at all. We talking about at all.
Yeah, I feel like that ain't nothing. Like, I feel
Hell
like
no,
you can't even count that. I mean, you can count it as an L, but you just charge that.
That's just scary, ain't it? Like, what I'm doing about scary charger then. Yep, I just took my L and moved on.
DJU then attempts to further dig into the topic, asking if these events turned him into a monster, but Jeff responds by implying that no, because he's been had ops. The conversation then turned to asking what it really was that turned Jeff into a savage, with Jeff replying that it was actually the death of Z-Money, saying how after his death, all he has seen is red.
Did that turn you to like some type of monster on some shit like, man, these?
Nah, it been these. That just made me watch these. I watch these now.
Right. So what was the one situation that has occurred in your life that made you say, fuck these niggas?
I told you, ran off on me.
Nigga, that's what I just asked.
For that, like you said, it been these. I ain't gonna lie, my homie dad, it's on my face right here.
Z-Money?
Yeah. Okay. It was super deep after that. Fuck everybody after that.
Okay, I see Z-Money on his face as well. Y'all share the same tattoo.
Another.
So this definitely had to be somebody that meant a lot to both of y'all. How long ago was his passing?
May. Was that last May? Yeah. March.
About a year
That
ago?
shit was a year ago. Yeah.
No, March. Yeah, March.
Yeah, that was March. Last March. Hell yeah. It been a year.
And how did this death affect your mentality, brother?
These, all I see is red.
Jeff would seemingly also troll Lil Rob and Monty by repeatedly saying, stay in school.
Hold on, let me do a redo. What you say, stay in school? Yeah, come on, redo. I'm still saying, y'all though, cause I don't put on AB on school. Come on, you ready? I can redo it.
Yeah, it's rolling, brother. You ain't even. They heard you.
Then stay in school. That's it. That's all. Stay in school. Everybody else, except for the people that need to stay in school.
The interview would finally end on a truly telling note, with Vert taking a box of cereal, made famous by the Whoop Man himself and the official peace pusher of Chicago, social media influencer FYB J-Mane, pouring his promotional cereal The Whoops on the floor before stepping on them, showing that unlike J-Mane, one thing the Bloodhounds truly had no interest in was pushing peace.
DJU, Bloodhound, Lil Jeff, get everybody stay in school. Hey, shout out to Royalty Production. Shout out AMF Visuals. You can take them whoops home with you, brother. Damn.
Jeff's rap career was now on a new level, and still in May, he would head off on his first trip to Los Angeles as a popping new artist. On the 21st of May, AMF will drop a vlog about their LA trip, where Jeff, Scoom, and Vert can be seen living the rapper lifestyle, chilling in a big Airbnb.
Hey, Andre, what you want?
Driving in fancy cars.
They got us, is what it is. Shit, I'm going back.
What you on, man?
Free phone now. I owe jail call for the guys, man.
Shopping.
That's an escalator right there, man.
But that's what we doing. We leaving.
We just had to make this force and pull the camera out. He won't pull the camera out. Zay right here. Get that Zay up. Get that up.
And of course, hanging out and recording new music in the studio.
Hold on, Bert. I gotta get close. I cannot miss. Hey, turn around. I gotta switch. Do the news.
Dahmer on the way.
Next to the million.
One M on the way. You at 300K.
300.
300,000 views on that. Jamie Foxx.
The vlog ends with the crew preparing to head back to Chicago for Scoom's birthday party, with his birthday being on Sunday the 12th of May, whilst the party seemingly being planned for Saturday the 11th.
You ready to go back home?
You know that party on Saturday for Scoom's birthday.
Unfortunately, the day after Scoom's birthday party, and on the actual day of his birthday, on the 12th of May, another young man would lose his life. This man being a 22-year-old named Khalil Dunbar, who is better known in the streets as an alleged member of the 8-Tray mob called Baby KD. According to news reports, KD had been in an alley near the 10800 block of South Indiana Avenue, this area being far away from the hood of the 8-Tray mob, when he was shot in the neck and taken to the Christ Medical Center, where he would later pass away. KD had seemingly been close friends with both Clay and True, the 8-Tray members killed in 2021, allegedly by the Bloodhounds according to some rumors, and he would often post tributes to them on his social media. Perhaps not so surprisingly, at this point, after KD's death, Jeff would soon seemingly begin to claim this murder as well, as he would go on live on Instagram and officially update his body count, saying that he's on his toes now because he can no longer count with his fingers, before simply stating, F it, it's 11.
Hey, when he play this, y'all know what the going on. I'm on my toes. We got his soul. I wanna bust his soul. AP, don't play with him. He won. Yeah. Shit ain't Chris. That shit ain't. I'm gonna bust your head. 3 fight. That's 11. You gonna be 8 and I'ma scan your scary to hell, nigga.
Q50 would also make his official body count update in late May, saying how he's up 8 now, whilst back in March 2024, the number had seemingly still been just 7. After supposedly coming back for a quick birthday bash and a murder, Jeff would then soon head back to LA to continue living the rapper lifestyle again with Vert and Scoom, this time right in time for Vert's birthday, which was on the 26th of May. During this trip, Jeff would end up linking with several Chicago drill legends, including Rico Reckless and G Herbo.
We the rappers that rap the rappers.
That rapper, we rap like it's Christmas. Ain't no duplicating this. We rap shit like it's Christmas. Boy, we kill for real.
I say, Lil Vert, Lil Jeff, because they different, bro. They ain't trying to rap.
We rapping, we scrapping, we trapping.
Them did what they did, man.
We mapping.
Ain't no light right here. Nah, I'm gonna get off the phone though.
He would also be shooting music videos with his manager AMF, one of these being the music video for the song LAX, released on May the 28th. The song itself being a tribute to the city that Jeff returned to after allegedly catching his 11th body, where Jeff once again aims disses at Monty, saying how he turns Czar into Czar, with this being an obvious play on one of Monty's nicknames being Czar, and with Czar also referring to a strain of high-grade cannabis, as well as likely being a reference to the vlog, when Monty himself says they call him Czar, and he'll smoke your dumb ass like some Czar.
Hey, y'all already know my name, Zah, they call me Zah, smoke your dumb like some Zah.
The song itself racked up 25,000 views in its first day of uploading, which isn't superstar numbers, but telling of a genuinely engaged core fan base that Jeff was cultivating at the moment. Jeff was showing potential in music, but his lyrics were so demonic, it was hard to imagine his story ending any other way than tragedy. And unfortunately for him, soon he would end up in the sort of situations that he always rapped about putting other people in. And just like his ops, soon the whole world will be logging onto the internet to see the demise of the latest killer drill rapper in 4K.